One of the biggest myths about anxiety is that it has to be managed, it can't be cured. I'm determined to prove that wrong, as many before me have. It's a message that I try and carry on TikTok, is that recovery is possible, and hopefully if people can see me do it, then they can do it too. Just got to know how. It all starts with knowing how the nervous system works. Once you understand how the nervous system works, that doesn't cure you, but puts you in a good position to actually understand why acceptance is so crucial. It's so frustrating when you go to therapists and stuff and they tell about acceptance. They never tell you why acceptance is important. They don't tell you why it works. And if you're anxious, you're gonna doubt it, aren't you? You know, we've got anxiety. So we need to understand why it works. And for that, we need to understand the nervous system. The reason acceptance works is because you stop fighting. And when you stop fighting, the parasympathetic nervous system becomes the dominant nervous system. And the sympathetic nervous system, which is causing all of the symptoms, all of the panic, all of the fear, desensitizes. You don't have to be a neurobiologist, you don't have to be a brain surgeon, but you do have to understand the nervous system, just the basics of it, because otherwise you're just going to fight against the method of acceptance, like I did for 20 years. You know, when you have to describe a feeling that you've got, right, with anxiety, that's pretty nailed on that it's anxiety causing it. Or rather, more specifically, it's the nervous system, the functioning of the nervous system causing it. Because when you have a real physical illness, or mental illness for that matter, right, when that's the case, the symptoms are very finite. They're very specific and they're very finite symptoms of illness, generally speaking. When you have to go to the doctor and say, you know, doctor, it feels a bit like, you know, when you go outside and your hands are really cold and you can't do your zip up properly because your hands are numb. Well, feels a bit like that, but also with a little bit of tingling. When you're having to get really descriptive, then it's the functioning of the nervous system that's the problem, right? And this is the other thing that you need to understand. We all need to understand about anxiety. Is anxiety, there's kind of two parts to it. There's what I like to call bloodstream, right, anxiety, which is when adrenaline gets released into the bloodstream, right? That has a very finite list of symptoms, and you see it on the NHS website. If you Google anxiety symptoms, you see, you know, racing heart, shortness of breath, dizziness, you know, stuff like that, right? That's the bloodstream anxiety, and that's caused by the adrenal glands releasing adrenaline into the bloodstream. We all pass that, right? We all pass that very, very quickly, right? And we enter the next level of anxiety, which is when the nervous system becomes sensitized. And what that means is the functioning of the nervous system changes. And it changes because it comes to expect fear being the dominant thing and the required thing. So the nervous system begins to change its functioning because of fear and stress being the dominant part of the nervous system. And neuroplasticity takes effect, which changes the functioning of the nervous system. And this is when we enter the next level of anxiety. This is when do you ever get that feeling when your head feels asleep, but you're actually awake? Do you ever feel dizzy and head pressure when you drive? You know, like I've got head pressure now across the top of my head. And you know, I get this thing where the inside of my lungs feel coated with a substance, right? That's not adrenaline in the bloodstream causing that feeling. That's sensitization of the nervous system, magnifying a normal feeling of the body that my amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear, is interpreting as a threat, and is therefore amplifying the feeling. Why? To try and keep us safe. So, and this is what doctors don't explain to us. Doctors don't explain, and therapists don't explain, because unless you've had anxiety and understand the nervous system, you don't know. You know, all these grounding techniques, you know, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, box breathing, you know, breathe in for 6, hold for 2, out for 4, or whatever it is. It's in for 4, isn't it? Hold for 2, out for 6. That's all great for bloodstream level anxiety, but when you enter the next level of anxiety, nervous system, right? And this is why Dr. Claire Weekes, who wrote her book in 1962 called Self-Help for Your Nerves, when she describes it as nervous illness, that actually better describes, old-fashioned as that sounds, better describes what's wrong with us. Anxiety, because how can it be anxiety when I get the symptoms when I'm not anxious, though? Or I get the thoughts when I'm not anxious. The thoughts just pop in my head and I'm not anxious. And this is what happens, right? The nervous system enters into this sensitized state over a period of time, and that's it. We're stuck. We're then stuck in a malfunctioning nervous system. And this is why acceptance is crucial. Going right back to the beginning, what we're saying at the beginning. So why is acceptance crucial? Because we get stuck in a cycle, right? The functioning of the nervous system will continually worsen to cause more severe, more intense symptoms and make them happen 24/7, 365. And it will just continue because we become afraid of the sensations themselves, right? Whether you're fearing, it doesn't matter whether you fear dying, fear going mad, whatever, we fear the sensations. And whilever we do that, right, the amygdala just learns that these symptoms are to be afraid. Therefore, I'm going to sensitize the nervous system a bit more to feel these symptoms more intensely. Why? To keep you safe. Okay, so we feel the symptoms again, we become afraid. I'm going to sensitize the nervous system more. Why? Because I need to keep you safe. That's my job. That's the job of fear. It's how are we telling it to be afraid of these sensations and thoughts? How are we doing that exactly? Our response to fear. So what you've got to think about with fear, right? I'm not going to call it anxiety, I'm going to call it fear. When you detect a sensation or a thought and fear activates, fear is saying, hey, Tom, is this symptom dangerous? That's what it's saying. When you get that, oh shit, what's that? Right? That, oh shit. And then the thoughts start, right? Fear is saying, hey, Tom, I've just noticed this. Is this dangerous? Right? And it doesn't know at this point if it's dangerous or not until it gets our response. Now, the only response it gets from us, it's not us saying, hi brain, hi amygdala, conscious thought, yes, this is dangerous. Can you keep an eye on it, please? It's not that. It's the behaviour. We check our pulse, we prod our bodies, we Google, we ask for reassurance, we avoid the place that we had a panic attack, we avoid doing anything eventually. We avoid leaving bed because our dizziness is too bad. So what does that tell the brain? Yes, it is dangerous. So fear says, thank you, my person, who I'm here to protect. I'm going to listen even more closely to the body. And the parts of the brain involved are the insula. Insula listens to the body. That's part of like an interoception system, which is our ability to feel our own body. The insula sensitizes to detect more and more that's going on in the body over time. All this happens through neuroplasticity. The hippocampus stores all these memories of all these horrific symptoms and what they could be and everything that we Google. The hippocampus stores all of that. And the amygdala learns from all of this that all of this is dangerous. Any physical sensation eventually is dangerous. Even a breeze across the face that we're not expecting is enough to tip us into a panic attack. And this is all happening because we're telling it to do so. And how are we doing that? Through our behaviour, through avoidance, through safety behaviours, repetitive behaviours, OCD, all of that stuff. And this is why acceptance is crucial, right? Because the only way the brain is going to learn that this is not the case, that this is not something to be afraid of, is for us to start answering the question, hey, Tom, is this dangerous? With a no. And the only way to do that is we get the, oh shit, what was that? And do nothing. We do nothing at all. We accept it. We go, okay, I can't do anything about this. It's not dangerous, or at least I'm going to act as if it's not dangerous. Doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. Whether you believe whether you believe it's dangerous or not doesn't matter. It's what you do, because remember, the amygdala, the subconscious mind, it doesn't listen to what you think or believe. It listens to what you do. So, over time, repeatedly accepting what we feel and think and not responding to it with safety behaviours and avoidance behaviours, gradually, slowly, the nervous system desensitizes. And that's it. That's as complicated as anxiety recovery is. Not easy though. Simple, but not easy. Not easy at all. Why? Because we still have to experience all of these physical symptoms and mental thoughts, and it's uncomfortable and it's tiring. And the fear response will still scream at you, hey, Tom, this is dangerous. You've told me this is dangerous for the last 20 years. You've been telling me this is dangerous. You've been avoiding going out because it's dangerous. You've been avoiding going to the supermarket. You've been Googling and researching. Now I've got all this knowledge in memory. You're telling me this is dangerous, and now you're suddenly telling me it's not. What? No, I'm going to tell you it is dangerous. I'm going to try to get your attention. Why? Why? Because fear has one job, and that's to keep you safe. So the brain, right? A lot of people with anxiety say, my brain's broken. It isn't. If anything, anxiety proves the opposite. Anxiety proves that your brain is actually incredibly healthy and is doing an excellent job of keeping you safe. And neuroplasticity is working at a phenomenal rate. So, and remember, fear's job's to keep you safe, and it's going to keep keeping you safe whatever you tell it. Remember, we don't come out of the womb. We do not come out of the womb afraid of dizziness, afraid of head pressure, afraid of palpitations, right? Over time, we learn to become afraid of it. Why do some people develop anxiety and others don't? I believe that everybody with anxiety has a special type of ability to problem solve. But the ability to problem solve is also the ability to cause problems and foresee problems. And, yeah, that's why I think it all is.